There's one Penn State freshman who is currently forcing the issue in fall camp that Penn State fans really should be excited about and should be paying attention to. So in this episode of the Big Ten Huddle presented by FanDuel, it's just me, John Rhodes, no Chris, as he's traveling during this episode, but that won't stop us from talking about the Nittany Lions because Penn State may have a freshman who is already too good to keep in a small role. Now, it is August, I understand that, but we are seeing players be more consistent in fall camp now, and that's where I do think things like this can start to be talked about because they're starting to get real when you see that consistency. Every fan base has a freshman who's supposedly ready to become the next star before he's even played a meaningful snap, but most of them fall off in camp before week 3. But this freshman feels different because he is not just getting praise for looking athletic, he is working around older players, getting first team exposure, creating turnovers, and making Penn State ask a question it probably did not expect this early. How long can you keep this guy in a limited role? That matters when you look at the bigger picture. And right now, Penn State has to look at the bigger picture because they are currently at plus 290 on FanDuel right now to make the college football playoffs. That does not mean the Nittany Lions cannot get there. It means there is still enough uncertainty that they are not being treated like a playoff lock yet. But if you're looking for this kind of unexpected development, that can raise a team's ceiling. This is what it looks like. The freshman that we're talking about is Josiah Zayas, who can be a huge addition to this team if he hits. And by hit, it does not mean that he has to become Penn State's next defensive back star or anything. He just has to become good enough that D'Anton Lynn cannot ignore him and offer more players to be able to play and to be options. It's hard to ignore Zayas because he is 6'2", 205 pounds, and does not look like your normal first-year defensive back physically. He got safety work in the spring, but right now his path looks more like corner or nickel, and that type of versatility is something D'Anton Lynn is going to like. Penn State is operating out of a 4-2-5 structure, and the nickel is not a backup who wanders around the field on third down. That player has to cover, tackle, communicate, and fit the run. So when a freshman starts looking playable there, it creates options. Freshman hype is usually about the future, but for Josiah, it is interesting because Penn State may have to, get him on the field right now. As I said, 6'2", 205 pounds. He's worked around the first team defense, showed a knack for turnovers and being a ball hawk in some ways. And after safety work in the spring, he now looks capable of helping as a corner or a nickel. That does not mean that Penn State should bench a veteran for him or anything like that, but it does mean the staff may have a better problem than expected. A freshman developing too quickly to leave on the sideline. Now, this is where we calm down just a little bit. Zion Tracy is still the projected starting nickel. The idea that Penn State should simply move on from him because the freshman had a great camp is too aggressive. Tracy is experienced. Collins is established at corner. Cooper is working his way back at safety. Penn State has older players who understand what this defense requires. And Zayas is still operating in a limited role. Looking great in a small menu of assignments is not the same thing as handling the entire playbook against Big Ten offenses. But what happens if he keeps passing every test that they try to throw at him? Because the best version of this story is not Zayas replacing somebody. The best version is Zayas making the entire secondary more flexible and bringing in another player they can start to rotate in there to give guys either breaks or allow D'Anton Lynn some more flexibility. Maybe he becomes a rotational nickel. Maybe he gives Penn State another corner option. Maybe Lynn finds a third down packages for him to put him in. Maybe his versatility allows Penn State to move veterans around based on the matchups. That is where one freshman can change more than just one simple starting position. The hidden value in Josiah is not that he has to win one starting job. It's that he may let Penn State stop thinking about the secondary in fixed positions. If Zayas can handle corner and nickel after getting safety work in the spring, D'Anton Lynn can build packages around his versatility. One week you need an extra cover player. The next you need somebody who can hold up against the run. Versatility gives the defense answers without changing personnel. And that is why this freshman can matter before he ever becomes an every down starter. There is another part of this that matters for Penn State's playoff ceiling. Turnovers, right? The buzz around Zayas is not just that he looks physically ready, but he has shown a nose for the football and an ability to create turnovers for his team, which would be excellent for Penn State and D'Anton Lynn. Nobody should project a giant interception total. We're not projecting 9, 10 interceptions or anything like that, but playmaking instincts are hard to manufacture. A defense can be sound for 10 plays, and one takeaway changes a game. One undercut route, one tipped pass, one mistake forced when the opponent is driving. For a Penn State team at plus 290 to make the playoffs on FanDuel, the difference between a win and a loss in a dangerous situation might just come with a single turnover in a high leverage moment. And that's why breakout players matter so much, like Zayas. Not because one freshman guarantees you a win or anything like that, but because contenders are often changed by players who can go out there and make the play that's needed. Here's my Penn State overreaction, okay? Josiah Zayas is going to force his way into meaningful football this fall. Notice what I did not say. I did not say that he's taken Zion Tracy's job. I did not say that he's becoming an All-American or anything like that. That's too high of hype, and we don't need to get into that kind of stuff. I'm saying that if a 6'2", 205-pound defensive back keeps creating turnovers and holding his own against first-team players, you are going to see him getting snaps this season, and good teams protect the depth chart. Great teams let competition change it. This is something that James Franklin did not let happen very much because he was so loyal to the older players. But Zayas, if he can show he can be out there, I believe this Penn State coaching staff will make that happen. And Zayas is making that competition uncomfortable. Penn State does not need Zayas to save the secondary or anything like that. That's what makes the breakout, type of potential more valuable. If this were a desperate team throwing a freshman into the field because nobody else can play, I'd be worried. But I don't think that's what this is. Penn State has established veterans. Zayas can be developed without being asked to carry the room. He can earn responsibility instead of having it dumped on him. That is the ideal environment for a freshman breakout player. And if by October he is no longer just a package player, if he is playing legitimate high leverage snaps, if offenses have to account for where he lines up every time, well, Penn State will have added an impact defender who was not built into most preseason expectations. That is the payoff for the playoff. See what I'm talking there? To make that happen. But championship caliber seasons are rarely only about the stars everybody knew in January, right? They're about the unexpected players who change the math, who can give the defensive coordinator to ask them to do more than maybe they were originally expected to do. Josiah Zayas has not proven that he is a star player yet by any means, but he has done enough to make Penn State start asking questions. And once a freshman starts forcing the questions because of his consistency, it becomes very hard to keep him off the field. If you want more of this Penn State coverage, go ahead and like and subscribe. We have a video every Thursday at noon about Penn State. We have more that kind of circulate in and do stuff like that. But if you're a Penn State fan and you want more Penn State coverage and things like that, go ahead, like the video, subscribe here to the Big Ten Huddle every Thursday at noon. And then also, come and join us during the season as Zach and I recap the entire week on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern time live here on YouTube, and then Tuesday nights 9 p.m. Eastern time live here on YouTube, previewing the week as well. We got more short videos and stuff like this that come out, but those are our 2 live times that we would love to see you there for. All right, everybody, thanks so much for listening and watching. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.